First thing, we're gonna set the parking brake and put the car in neutral, and then turn off the car. Next step, let's remove the shifter. So pull this down so you can access the clip here. Go ahead and remove the clip. And then lift the shift knob up. Go ahead and put the clip back on the shifter so you can just put it back on when you're done with it. Next step, we're going to go ahead and remove these two side panels. So go ahead and pull out. They pull out like in this direction. So go ahead and pry these open like that. This is what it looks like. So set that aside. And we'll remove the other side as well. Open like that. That's it. One. Next step, we're going to remove this panel right here. Lift up from here. Then remove it from here. That's it. Next step, we'll remove these two screws right here so we can lift up the shifter panel right here. That's one. That's two. Then we can go ahead and lift this panel up. There's going to be some connectors underneath it that we'll need to disconnect. Let me try to show you. Here is the first one. Go ahead and disconnect this guy. There's going to be, let me try to lift it up further. I really can't. There's going to be another one right here. Go ahead and disconnect this guy as well. Two. And then we have two more. One right here. And then one more right here. Next, we're going to remove the two air vent panels. Start from the bottom and work your way up. That's one. And that's two. Next thing, we're going to remove this second monitor panel. So remove these two screws right here, and then you'll be able to pull it out. Pull it out from here. There's also 3 additional clips up here. So just pull it forward. Then you'll have access to the back here. There's 1, 2, 3 cables to disconnect. Go ahead and undo those connections. 1, 2, and 3. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove the top screen right here. So go ahead and undo these 2 screws. this monitor out. And then behind here, I don't know if you can see, we have several connectors back here. So we'll need to go ahead and undo those. We have one. We have this one right here. Two. And then we have 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You might have more connections down here based on the options in the car, but again, just keep note of how many connectors you remove so you can go ahead and connect those back onto the screen once we're done with the installation. Next, I'm going to remove these 4 screws so we can pull the radio unit forward. And then we can go ahead and pull the radio unit forward. Again, there's no need to disconnect all of the cables back here. No need to do that because the only cable that we'll work with is this guy right here. So when we get to it, I'll show you exactly which cable we're working with. But for now, just go ahead and rest this radio unit right here. Okay, we're going to install our subboard inside of the LCD screen for the 2017 QX60. So let's begin by putting a protective sheet over the LCD screen itself, just to protect it. And once that part is done, we'll go ahead and remove this bracket right here. Oh, wow. Do it manually. One. That's 2. Same thing with the other side. Three. 4. Now the bracket can come off. And then there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 screws that we'll need to remove. When you remove the sides, this bracket piece comes off. That's fine. go ahead and remove these 4 last ones. And then when you're pulling out this screen, be careful. The fan is connected right here. So what you're going to do is pull from this side out to the right, like that, gently. And then go ahead and disconnect the fan. And then you can go ahead and set this aside. There's going to be 3 ribbon cables, 1, 2, and 3 that we'll need to remove. So just go ahead and gently pop open the tab. 1, 2, and 3. 1 screw in the middle. And then this is the Bluetooth antenna. You can, if you'd like, you can go ahead and disconnect it, but it's easier if you just pull it out and set it like this. But for today, since I'm showing you how to do this, I'm going to disconnect it so I can easily work with the bottom screen. So here it is disconnected. And then I'll put this aside. Alright, so we're ready with the subboard installation. Go ahead and put the plastic cover on first. With your subboard, I typically like to make these 3 connections first, and then this one right here. So we'll grab this LVDS cable. LVDS, it goes in here. Next, the sub data cable. This one, you can fold it up like that, just to make it easier for you to insert. And then make sure it's inserted all the way. You don't want to leave a gap. And this one goes right here. Be careful with this one and the LVDS. They're the same. They're the same 3-pin connector type, but again, LVDS is labeled. It goes here, and then this one goes there. Put these cables aside. Next, we'll install this ribbon cable right here. Just go ahead and pop that open like that. Make use of the plastic edge, blue side up, to help you push in. You'll hear it click once it's in properly. Put the clip down, and this is how it should look like. It should always line up with the blue lines, with the black dotted line. Let me make sure I have this in correctly. If you're not sure, go ahead and pull it out and reinsert just to make sure you have this in correctly. That's it. This is what it should look like. Next, we'll connect this ribbon cable to this port right here. So go ahead and open the tab, and once it's open, I'll zoom in. Once this tab is opened up, go ahead and insert this in. And again, you kind of will hear it when it clicks in. Push this down, and this is what this should look like. That's how much it should come out. And then once you have that, go ahead and brought this ribbon cable in through here. You can start to settle this down, and then this ribbon cable will go into this slot right here. Make sure it's pushed in all the way. Close. And see, mine isn't lined up correctly. This is not a good connection. So you just want to make sure it's lined up properly like that. So now that that's done.
So here are some pictures of what not to do when you're installing the ribbon cables. As you look at this ribbon cable here, even though the line looks pretty straight, if you pay close attention to it, the line is not exactly straight, as we can say. Whenever you're doing these things, make sure that you're pushing in the ribbon cable all the way inside the clip, and make sure that the white line is straight with the black clip on there. Even though sometimes they look straight, it's always good to take a good look at them. Make sure you try to put them as straight as possible, because these things are it's really sensitive when you're installing these things. They have to be perfectly installed. So here's a good example of what I'm talking about. The left side is brought a little bit lower than the right side, and I believe also that this ribbon cable is not pushed in all the way in. So this is improper install. You will have issues whenever you do something like this. Here's another example. This was a little bit more obvious. As you can see that the line is not straight at all. The ribbon cable is not pushed in all the way in there. This will not work. So then let us look at another example of what not to do. If you look at this blue ribbon cable, it's not pushed in all the way in there. You can see that giant gap between the clip and the black line on the blue ribbon cable. This one needs to be pushed in more deep inside. And also, again, line up the black line with the clip. Make sure everything is lined up perfectly well. If it's just off a little bit, you're going to have issues. Typically, one of the biggest giveaways that allows you to know that you install this ribbon cable incorrectly is whenever you have lines going through your screen. You will have a white screen with pink or blue purple lines going down through the screen. If you do get that, it's because you didn't install the ribbon cable correctly. Let us look at another image here. As you can see here, another giant gap between the black line and the clip itself. I drew arrows in the middle to show you the gap. Again, even though the line looks straight, this is not properly installed. You want to push that ribbon cable all the way down and then close it. After you close it, check your how can I say, the integrity of how straight the ribbon cable is. This is just quick examples for you guys to see what not to do. So now I'm showing some video of what a properly installed ribbon cable looks like. You can see here that the lines are perfectly well aligned with the black clip. That's exactly how you want it done. It's the ribbon cable doesn't look damaged at all. It's how can I say this? It's clean. It's a clean install. There's nothing wrong with this install. Let us look at another example of what a properly installed ribbon cable looks like. As you look at this one, this ribbon cable here is nicely installed, nicely put into the clip. There's no how can I say this? There's no gaps or anything like that. It's pushed down all the way in there. Let us look at another example. If there's another one here. Here you can see this blue ribbon cable as well. This is what a properly installed ribbon cable looks like as well. The reason why I'm showing these videos because people are having a hard time installing these things. Again, whenever you're doing these things, you want them to be perfectly installed. If it's just off a little bit, you're going to have issues. So please use these pictures as references and try to install them exactly the same way that you see them here.
Let's go ahead and put in the plastic rivets. These guys. separate them to make it easier. Go ahead and put in the bottom piece first. 1, 2, 3. Top piece. Secure it down. Okay. And now that that's in, let's go ahead and put that ribbon cable in here. Again, blue side up. Close that down. That's what it should look like. Alright, now that those are in, this part is done, let's go ahead and put this back on. So again, if you would have never disconnected the Bluetooth, then you would just bring it over this way. Put it into place. Make sure this ribbon cable comes out like that. Perfect. And then you can go ahead and start making your connections. I'll do the Bluetooth first so I don't forget it. And then make sure it's routed in like that. Next is this ribbon cable right here. If you want, you can go ahead and secure the board with that screw that goes in the middle. Go ahead and connect this ribbon cable right here. Make sure it lines up. This one right here, I'll zoom in for you guys. This one pull up, and this one insert it, and then push down on the ribbon cable. You'll hear it go in, or you'll feel it go in, and then push this down, and it should line up exactly like that. And then for this one, same thing, you'll feel it go in. That, push down, and that's what it should look like. All right. This ribbon cable, this cable right here will be routed like that. So go ahead and fold it here. And then fold it here too. So that way when you put the board back on, it'll end up like that. And then these two are gonna sit here. Be careful it doesn't get squished by the top plate, the back plate. It'll just lay like this on top of that. I'll show you in a little bit. So we got the Bluetooth antenna reconnected, 1, 2, and 3 ribbon cables connected. These are properly connected, so we can go ahead and put that back plate back on. Connect the fan. go ahead and bring it over. Again, align this cable right here so it doesn't get squished by the back plate. And then before you really press it in firmly, take a look here. See how it's being squished right there? You don't want that. Bring these two cables over to the top part. And this guy will sit here. And as you're doing that, go ahead and close it. And once it's closed, you want to make sure you can tug on this on these two cables right here. Because again, if you can't tug on it, it means it's probably resting. It's probably being squished in there or somewhere else. So be very careful with that. This will end up like that. This ribbon cable is already in place where, I mean, this cable right here is already in place where we want it to be. Let me go ahead and zoom out. So let's go ahead and put some screws on. Just keep in mind, I do have this on the lowest setting, so it's not over tightening it. Be careful with that. Alright. Now let's show this part right here. This is how the cables are going to end up. So go ahead and grab one of those side brackets. Start putting it into place. And just go ahead and start putting in some of the screws. Don't put it in all the way, so that way all of them can go in properly. That's two. Alright. And then go ahead and start tightening it. Alright. Again, you want to make sure this, you can move in and out. And these will just sit tightly right here. So that's fine. There's enough clearance for them to come out of here. Go ahead and wrap things up. Finish putting in the rest of the screws. Screws are in. Put the sticker back on. Let's go put this plate back on. These little tabs go on the top, and then the screws, the holes for the screws are right here. They go on the bottom. Let's go ahead and position this into place. Put in those 4 screws on the side. this should be your final result. Cables come out of this side. So all screws are back in. You can connect these guys. All of the other screws are in. Okay, let's go back in the car and finish the installation. Let's go ahead and begin connecting some of the components that we need to install here. I'll start with the external speaker. External speaker, I'm able to just place it in here and then route this cable down. Just leave the cable there. Next, I'll connect the DCU main cable. Go ahead and separate this part right here. I'll go ahead and route it behind this. Come out like that. Then connect it here. Of the two white ports, you connect it to this one, the two white connectors here, connect it here, and then apply a piece of foam tape to it. So it doesn't pick up on any background noise. Like that. Next is the CarPlay MIC cable. Go ahead and connect this guy right here. Use foam tape. Small. And then route this cable underneath here. So it can join up with the rest of the cables. Next up is the screen. Go ahead and route these two cables down first that are coming out of the screen. Get the screen in position, and then go ahead and reconnect the original connectors to the monitor. We had blue, we had black, we have green, we have the CarPlay mic cable, the DCU power cable, and you go ahead and position the screen back into place. Go ahead and secure that. Next we'll install the iPod cable, iPod harness. This is the only one that connects to the back side of the radio. So go ahead and set these cables aside. Pull out the radio here so we can check it. To help you, go ahead and disconnect this harness right here. It's the only OEM harness I would just disconnect for now to help us access the cable below it. This cable right here, go ahead and disconnect it. This is where you would connect the iPod harness to. So grab the iPod harness, connect this guy right here. Definitely add foam tape around that connection. Like that. And then this end connects back into here. And don't forget about this connector over here. Keep in mind, another reason why I say not to disconnect all of the cables is because some of these cables are the same. So be careful with that. This one fits in here, but again, it shouldn't go here. This is specific for this module, so be careful with that. That's why, again, I recommend don't disconnect all of it. Just disconnect the ones that you're working with. Next, let's connect the key cable right here. Key cable will plug into this guy right here. This is one of the 3 connectors that connect to the back side of the monitor. And then you have the 3-pin coming off of the key cable. That will connect to this connector right here. It's labeled key. This cable right here is coming off of the main DCU cable that you connected to the back side of the monitor. So go ahead and connect this cable right here. And then use foam tape. Apply foam tape to these connectors right here. Next, we're going to install the CarPlay USB cable. So go ahead and connect the speaker end of it to that external speaker that we installed behind the monitor. Here's its cable. Go ahead and connect these two and maybe apply a piece of foam tape. I'll do it later. In terms of the USB portion of it, depending on your customer's preference, you can have this USB installed and you can have it come out of here if you'd like. So you would have to route it down and have it come out through here. If there's a way for you to put it in the glove box compartment, even more props to you. In our particular scenario, I'm gonna route this cable down underneath here and have it come out through here because we are going to install an optional USB mount inside of the glove box compartment. But this is going to be our method for today. But as an installer, you can choose where you want to install this. This needs to be accessible to the customer so they can connect for wired CarPlay and auto connection. Next, you're gonna want to pull out the carpet here. Our CarPlay module is gonna go behind this carpet in this area right here. So go ahead and remove this guy right here. It's just a clip like that. And remove that guy over there. It's a screw you can undo. Now that that's off, go ahead and pull the carpet from this corner right here out towards you so you can place a CarPlay module right here in this area. and you're gonna have the cables come out through here when we route them through. Go ahead and take all your cables. All of these cables will need to route down into this area and come out through here like I showed you in the video before. So you can do them one by one, feed them through. Today I'm just gonna try taping them all together. So I'll demonstrate that process. But again, the method on how you do it is up to you. All there. Let's go ahead and feed it down. You want all of these cables to come through like that. And just tow them all the way through so that way you have enough room to work with these cables. Now that you have your other cables down there routed through, let's also route this cable for the eye knob as well. Go ahead and route this cable down through. Just like that. Okay, so let's begin with the connections to the set-top box. Let's first start with the mic cable. You should have your cables ready to connect. You should have at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you're missing, if you don't have 9, just double check and make sure you have those routed through. But we're going to get ready to connect these right now. So first, let's connect the CarPlay mic cable, which will go into this port right here. Next is the iKnob cable, which will connect into this port right here. Next is the CarPlay USB cable that will connect to this port here. Next is the Ipod cable. Ipod cable will connect here. Next is the UART cable that will connect right here. Next is the 6-pin power cable that would connect here. As you're connecting them, make sure you pull on them just to make sure they are properly connected, so that way they don't come loose while you're positioning the CarPlay module. Next is the LVDS that would connect here. The CarPlay Sub data cable will connect here. And then finally, the trip power cable will connect right here. That's it. CarPlay module is going to rest right here. Go ahead and position the carpet back into place. Like that. And then you can go ahead and put the screws back on. This part is optional. Again, if we're installing the optional USB extension conversion cable, then go ahead and proceed with this part. So let's go ahead and get this ready. Put this here. Go ahead and put this on it. Like that. So let's go ahead and remove this piece right here. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect it first. And then this piece will have to come out. Can't do it with your fingers, and use a prying tool of some sort to help you take it out. Go. Now with that removed, you may need to make this hole just a little bit bigger. So go ahead and use a drill bit like this one. You can make the hole bigger. Don't make it too big, because otherwise it's going to be too loose. And we can go ahead and test it. Feed this through like that. Try not to force it in, because this can get ruined right here. And go ahead and use this to secure it. And then connect the two USB ends together and tape that up. What you can do with the tape is do it in such a manner where it holds the two cables together. That's good enough. Go ahead and also tape up this connector right here, since it's not going to be used anymore. Like that. Apply a piece of foam tape just to insulate that connection right there. And tape up any excess cable. That's it. Everything now is connected. Let's go ahead and reassemble everything. Let's get this here out of the way. Position the eye knob in here. Okay, now that those guys are in, let's go ahead and put this guy back on. I'll remove this now. let's make the connections here. Again, depending on whether you had the key cable or the iKnob, key cable or iKnob cable will connect to this port right here. Let me connect this guy first, this guy second. Again, either key cable or the iKnob will connect here. Keep in mind these guys will go in like that. And you can position this back in. 2 screws right there. One. 2. Next is the air vents. Air vent 1. Air vent 2. Next is the shifter panel. Go ahead and redo these connections right here. We had that one. We had this one. And we have 2 more down here. One. 2. There we go. 2 screws here. One. And 2. Install that panel right here. Cup holder panel. Remember, it's got a little hook tool right here, so make sure it goes in there first. And you can secure it down. Side panels. 1. Number 2. And then finally, shift knob. And you're ready to test. Alright, now that the installation's finished, let's go ahead and test a few things before we deliver the vehicle to the customer. So I'm going to test today with an iPhone. Go ahead and grab your USB cable. For iPhones, I recommend that you use the lightning cable, otherwise there might not be a good connection. So go ahead and connect your cable to the CarPlay USB port. If you have the optional USB extension cable, we have it installed here. Otherwise, you may have your USB cable coming out through this area right here, which is perfectly fine. Again, it must be accessible to the customer. So go ahead and connect your phone to the cable. You'll see that it charges. You'll see that the screen changes and CarPlay will load. You hear that music? That music is coming through the external speaker. So if you want the music to play through the car speakers, then we'll need to go into audio, source, and Ipod. And now the sound is playing through the car speakers. So again, just leave it in an iPod. You can still go to FM, AM, and all the other radio stations. That's still operable. Our system doesn't affect this. But if you want to listen to CarPlay audio through the car speakers, you must be an iPod. So let's go ahead and test it. Again, you can use a touchscreen to control the CarPlay. If you install the iKnob, then you can also make use of the knob to control it as well. If you didn't install an iKnob, if the customer didn't get the iKnob, then you can just control it through there. That's no problem. In order to switch to the original side, press and hold the back button right here. Press and hold for 3 seconds and it will switch. Press and hold for 3 seconds and it'll switch again. So those are 2 ways that you can switch back and forth. That's a 1 way you can switch back and forth, I'm sorry. This is a second way you can do that as well. Just press it once and the screen will switch. Press it once again and the screen switches. Let's test out the reverse camera. Perfect. Let's test Siri. For Siri, there's 2 ways you can activate Siri in this car. You can press and hold this one right here. Hey Siri, take me to the nearest gas station. Never mind. Or I forget. You can either I think you push to the left. Hey Siri, take me to the nearest gas station. My internet's weird. Alright, there you go. So if you want to activate Siri when you have iKnob, just push this one to the right. So I'll try it again. Hey Siri, what's the weather like today?
It's currently clear and 88 degrees. Today's high is 88 degrees and the low will be 64 degrees.
Okay. So that's it for that. Let's also test out phone calls. Let's go into menu, settings, Bluetooth, connect device, add a new device, and then I'll go to my settings and add this car. I forgot to mention, I never unlocked my phone, but when you do unlock your phone, there's going to be 2 questions that show up. Do you want to allow CarPlay while the phone is locked? Customer has to answer this. You can answer it. It's up to you. I just press allow. The second question is, do you want to enable CarPlay with wireless CarPlay? So here is where the customer can choose whether they want to use CarPlay wirelessly or use USB only. I recommend that the primary driver use wireless CarPlay, and then for all other people in the car, let them connect with the USB cable so that way the phones aren't competing for wireless connection. So I'm testing today. I'll reset everything. So I'm gonna enable wireless just to test it out. And in the meanwhile, let's go ahead and test those phone calls. Again, when you're doing wireless, leave your phone connected for about 2 to 3 minutes so that the wireless setup can complete. Go into Bluetooth, look for my car. This one's from an old car. Just wait for it to show up. You may need to turn off Bluetooth, turn it back on again. There it is. Sure. Alright, cool. So again, we're connecting to the Bluetooth for testing of the phone calls. So to make calls, I use Siri. Hey Siri, call 714-258-0400. and you'll find that that automatically routes it through the INFINITI's Bluetooth. So that's what you want. That's why we're doing it this way. You want it to automatically use the Bluetooth option. Hey, can you do me a quick favor? Can you call me back, please? Thank you. Oops, I hung up on it. And then when you're receiving a call, answer with the answer button over here. So we're getting that call. I'm gonna go ahead and answer here. And then if it switches, again, press and hold this button to change back, or this button. All right, that's it. Thank you. All right, bye. So again, make calls using Siri, activate Siri through here or through here. And then to answer a call, answer it through here so that it forces it through the INFINITI's Bluetooth. Let's test out the wireless connection. Go ahead and disconnect your phone. And if the wireless setup is complete, the CarPlay logo will show up there. And now we have a wireless connection. All right, we're done testing this car. Go ahead and reset the connections. So we'll go into the menu, INFINITI, settings, information, and then reset. Press OK. And then on your phone, go to settings. We'll go into settings, general, CarPlay. It's going to be the CarPlay right here, and then forget this car. So now your phone has forgotten about the CarPlay module, and the CarPlay module has forgotten about all connections. So now you're free to have the customer connect their phone.